I'm going to compare the Orca 20 to the YETI Roadie 24, RTIC 20, and the Igloo BMX 25. I'm going to show you how the Orca performed in my ice retention and insulation tests, what I like about the Orca, what I don't like, and I'll also be cutting the Orca 20 in half so you can see what this looks like on the inside. By the end of this video, you're going to know whether the Orca 20 is right for you. The Orca 20 quart is the brand's smallest hard cooler. Orca also makes a 26 quart, 40 quart, and several larger capacity coolers as well. While the 20 quart cooler seems pretty sizable from the exterior, they actually don't carry that too much in practice. If you're not packing too many perishables, a 20 quart cooler is solid for an overnight or a weekend camping trip. But if you're traveling with more than 2 people, or you want to pack all your meals for a weekend and have a little leftover room for cans, I recommend a 40 quart cooler in that case. Regarding the price, comparing to the other major brands in the roto-molded cooler space, Orca, it's right in the middle, so it's less expensive than YETI, but it's more expensive than RTIC. The one thing that Orca has that none of the other brands I've tested that they have, Orca is made in the USA. So you can see that little patch right there, boom. Oh, and also it's got this really cool cargo net on the back, so I guess that's 2 things. I spent 4 days testing the Orca 20 quart thoroughly. I've also done extensive ice retention tests on the YETI Roadie 24, the RTIC 20 quart, and the Igloo BMX 25. I did all of my tests under the same exact conditions, 7 pounds of ice in each cooler, and all coolers in a temperature-controlled room. When testing, I never opened the lids of the coolers, and the tests were all recorded at the same time so the ambient temperature was consistent for each cooler. While this test doesn't simulate how well the Orca is going to perform in real life, it does give you a clear idea of which brand has the best insulation for their cooler in relation to the others. The Orca 20 holds 20 liquid quarts, but how much is that really? Compared to the other 20 quart coolers I tested, the Orca 20 has the second worst space efficiency ratio. I get this number by dividing the number of cans a cooler holds by its liquid quart capacity. While Orca says on its site that you can fit 18 cans in their 20 quart, I was able to fit 20 actually, so that gives the cooler a 1-to-1 ratio of can storage to liquid capacity. The Orca 20 is short and wide, which makes it a pretty sturdy seat, and it also stows very easily. The Orca 20 quart hard cooler can hold 22 pounds of ice, though you wouldn't be able to carry anything else, so I recommend buying a 7-pound bag of ice instead, and that's going to keep everything you have in your Orca cold overnight or a weekend trip. It'll do fine. Of the 4 small hard-sided coolers I tested, the Orca came in 3rd for insulation, but it performed almost identically to the RTIC 20. The difference was so minor that the different readings, it could just be like instrument sensitivity or a minor difference rather than the actual difference. So I'm going to say the RTIC and the Orca 20, they're basically identical. Both of them, however, lose out to the YETI Roadie 24. So take a look at this graph. In my ice test, it's 96 hours, 7 pounds of ice, no opening, no sunlight. The YETI Roadie 24 performed the best. By comparison, the RTIC came in 2nd, was basically tied though with Orca throughout, and the Igloo BMX 25 performed the worst. While the YETI Roadie 24 kept its contents below 40 degrees for 73 hours, the Orca did the same for 70 hours. Technically speaking, the YETI Roadie 24 is the best, but in my experience, there's no practical difference when you're storing food in a roto-molded cooler. They're all amazing at insulating, and 73 hours versus 70, not a huge difference. As for durability, the Orca 20 quart is a total beast. Even among roto-molded coolers, which are basically indestructible to begin with, they're even more indestructible, I guess. The handle on the Orca is nearly twice the gauge width as the stainless steel handle on the RTIC. Not that you'd ever bend or break the RTIC handle, but the Orca handle makes you it makes the whole thing look like an absolute tank. Roto-molded coolers are known for their sturdiness because there are no seams to crack. While I didn't test durability specifically, based on the feel of each, I think the Orca 20 quart is the most sturdy. One aspect of this durability is the rubber T-handles, which are very tight. They're actually hard to latch, which is a big issue for me. Check out this real-world test to see what happens when I drop the Orca. Now, the Orca 20 quart is heavy. It's 18 pounds when completely empty. Compare that to the 13-pound YETI and the 10-pound Igloo, and it's clear that the Orca is tough to carry around, especially when loaded up. Features like the bear-proof locks, the huge stainless steel handle, and a drain plug make this little cooler a versatile addition to your camping trip. The Orca 20 quart has one feature that I absolutely love. It's the cargo net in the back. When I first got it, I didn't think the net would make that much of a difference, but it is so handy and helpful. Like I said, if you have like a pocket knife, you can just throw it in there when you're at the beach so you don't have to worry about losing anything in the sand. It's amazing. The Orca has 2 holes for padlocks on either side, so theoretically, you could fill your cooler with a delicious pot of honey, toss it to a bear, and that bear would never be able to get to it. So now that we've gone over all the details, let's cut the Orca 20 in half and see how the insulation compares. Like Cooler Bell always says, safety first. So here I have my 4 coolers cut in half. This is the Igloo BMX 25, the RTIC 20 quart right here, the YETI Roadie 24, and lastly I have my ORCA 20 quart. So comparing these all side by side, we can kind of get why each of them are better at different things. So the Igloo BMX 25 right here, it's got the least amount of insulation with about 1 inch of insulation around the sides and about 1/2 inch of insulation at the bottom. You have the RTIC 20 quart. This has the most insulation with about 2 inches of insulation all the way around, maybe even 2.5 inches. It's pretty thick. The YETI Roadie 24, 1.5 inch insulation at the sides, bottom, and then about 1.75 inches of insulation at the top. And the RTIC 20 quart, 1.5 inch insulation at the sides, 2 inches insulation at the bottom and the top. So you can kind of see the story play out here. RTIC's got the most insulation, but it's also the heaviest. ORCA, the plastic, is actually thicker all the way around, so I would go ahead and say that it is the most durable based on what I've seen and how it's acted, and what I'm seeing right here with the thick plastic. YETI Roadie 24, I think it's just all in the design. Maybe it's something in the engineering, that's why or maybe it's in the foam. I don't know exactly why, but the YETI Roadie 24 did perform the best. And then the Igloo, you can see why it's the lightest weight. It has the thinnest plastic. It has the least amount of insulation. So that has its pros and cons as well. Overall, the ORCA 20 quart is an excellent cooler. I absolutely love the cargo net, which is one of the most convenient things I've ever experienced on a cooler. On the downside, the rubber T-handles are so difficult to open that convenience from the cargo net, it's basically washed out. For insulation, the ORCA performed exactly the same as the RTIC, and both of those performed slightly less well compared to the YETI Roadie 24. But practically speaking, I don't think you'd actually notice a difference in real-world usage. I recommend ORCA if you want something that's USA made. I'd also recommend ORCA if you're looking to throw your cooler off a cliff just to see what happens. It's a tough beast. I have to say though, my favorite 20 quart cooler is the RTIC 20 because of the balance of price, insulation, additional storage space, and ruggedness. The YETI Roadie 24 is the best of the best in terms of performance, but its cost is pretty hefty. And if you want something that's just a little more budget friendly, I like the Igloo BMX 25 a lot, though it is very ugly, so just note that. If you want to see me cut the YETI, RTIC, and Igloo in half, you can check out these videos popping up around me right now. I'll see you over there, and until then, stay cool.